It was a dark and stormy November night. Victor's creature that he has been spending the last 2 years creating has finally come alive. Victor is horrified by the monster's appearance. He runs to his bedroom, slams the door, and tries to fall asleep. He has a dream about Elizabeth and his mother's corpse. Victor is awakened by the monster with a big smile on his face. This terrifies him, so he runs out of his apartment and spends the rest of the night in his courtyard. The next morning, Victor is afraid to return to his apartment and walks around the town. While walking around, he runs into his very good friend, Henry Clerval. He comes in and they decide to attend the university. Victor is happy to see him, and he is happy to see that the monster is no longer there. He takes him into his apartment, and suddenly he falls ill and has a nervous fever that lasts months while Clerval nurses him back to health. Victor becomes well again, and Clerval gives him a letter from his beloved cousin, Elizabeth.
Victor reads the letter Elizabeth has written for him. The letter tells Victor Elizabeth is worried about him and his health. She wants him to write back to Geneva as soon as he can because he has not written to the family once since he started attending university. Elizabeth has also mentioned Justine Moritz has returned to the Frankenstein household after Victor's mother has passed away. After reading the letter, Victor wrote a letter back to Elizabeth. Writing this letter, however, did tire him. Victor was able to leave his apartment 2 weeks later. After the 2 weeks, the first thing Victor wanted to do was introduce Clerval to the professors of the university. Introducing Clerval to the professors was a tough job for Victor. Clerval and Victor decided to study Oriental languages.
Je m'appelle Victor.
Ciao.
Famous fritas and los panqueques. La hamburguesa.
Molto bene.
Sì, uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis.
That's good.
Seeing any scientific instrument worsened the symptoms of Victor. Talking to his professors was even worse. Victor decided he needed to return to his hometown of Geneva. He had to wait for a letter from his father on when to return home. While waiting, the two men take a walking tour of the country to lift their spirits and make them happy again.
After returning from the walking tour, Victor receives a letter from his father. The letter was full of sorrow and sadness. Victor's father informs him that his younger brother, William, was murdered on Thursday, May 7th. He tells him that his niece and his two younger brothers went out for a walk that night. This walk was longer than usual. William and Ernst went ahead of the others, and as dusk came upon them, the two boys were not found. They waited for the two boys, but they only found Ernst. William had run away to hide himself from Ernst. Ernst went to look for his brother, but after some time could not find him. Everyone started to look for William, and around 5 in the morning, William was found dead and the print of a murderer's fingers around his neck. After reading the letter, Victor immediately returned home to Geneva. When he arrived during the night, all the gates to enter were closed. Victor has to walk around in the woods. He soon approaches the place of where his brother was murdered. As he nears this place, he sees a figure standing behind him. The figure is the monster that Victor has made. Right when he sees the monster, he is convinced that the monster is responsible for the death of William. The next day, Victor learns that Justine is accused of killing William. After hearing that a picture of Frankenstein was found in Justine's pocket, Victor knows that Justine is innocent. He does not tell people, though, because he doesn't want people to think that he is a crazy man, and he knows who killed William. The trial of Justine takes place, and she admits to killing William. She does this to make sure she gets eternal life. Victor and Elizabeth go to visit Justine. Justine admits to them that she did not kill William, and they both know she did not commit this crime. The next day, she is put to death for a crime she did not commit. This weighs heavily on Victor, and he feels very guilty because his creation killed two people in his family. After the execution of Justine, Victor's emotions take a turn for the worst. He contemplates suicide many times. The thought of Elizabeth and his father make him think otherwise. His father notices the kind of mood the whole household is in. He decides to take the family to their home in Belrive. Upon their arrival, Victor decides to visit the valley. He watches the lightning and listens to the rush of the river. The beautiful nature that Victor sees help him to relieve some of his sadness and guilt, but only for a short while.